McFadden. Sorry. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. I'd just like to call the meeting to order for April 24th, 2018 with a roll call from City Clerk Kathy Valdez. Is not here. Claire?
Let the record reflect that all members are present except for Mayor Ritter and Councilman Green.
Thank you. So if you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to have Councilmember Rigby lead us in the pledge, and then right after that we'll have the invocation by Mike McFadden of the City of Vista.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather here tonight,
Thank you, Mr. McFadden. In accordance with the Brown Act, I'd like to announce that as a result of convening simultaneous meetings, the members of the Buena Sanitation District will receive compensation of $147.75 for this meeting, pursuant to Buena Sanitation District Ordinance 2006-1. City Manager Patrick Johnson, is there any changes to the agenda?
No, there are none.
Thank you. So there was no closed session this evening, so there's nothing to report. We do have 3 presentations this evening, so I would like to invite my fellow council members to come down to the podium with me. We're having a presentation of certificates to the graduates of the City of Vista Spring 2018 Leadership Academy. So congratulations to all of you. And so these people have dedicated several weeks to learning about how the city functions, and we want to recognize them for that service and that commitment to community. So if you wouldn't mind. Hello? Got it. All right. Yay, Kathy. Okay, so to begin with, we're going to go ahead and hand each one an individual certificate. We'll probably keep them up here and take a group picture with all of you. In addition to that, I'm going to give you one of our challenge coins, each one of you, for completing the program as well. So thank you. Melissa Bailey. Yasmin Berger. And Joan is not here, right? So Ferris Cook. Jody Dunham. Congratulations. Alex? Alex Goodman. Yes. Laura Hausman. And next we have Elisa Jimenez. And Jeanette Lizarraga. Adrian Madama Stoddard. Congratulations. Carl Redding. Marion Roditis. Roditis. Dana Stoddard. And Michelle Walsh. And I present you our spring class 2018. Squeeze in there, Carl. Come on. Get friendly with Dana there.
Thank you. Can I spend this anywhere?
Well, anywhere in Vista, but not in Carlsbad. Or any other surrounding cities. Cut that off. Okay, next presentation we have is Fire Inspector and Life Sharing Volunteer Mike McFadden will present on National Donate Life Month. National Donate Life Month.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mike, and like the Deputy Mayor said, I'm the volunteer for Life Sharing. April is National Organ Donation Month. I've spent more than 3 decades of my life in our local fire service community. Doing that, I've had the ability to treat a firefighter having chest pain on a brush fire. He ultimately retired out on a medical disability. He received a heart transplant within months of that day and lived a long and adventurous retirement. A former Vista firefighter's son survived a life-saving heart transplant procedure. Tanner now lives a normal life as a middle schooler in Oceanside and even plays sports. But I've also seen a retired firefighter from Long Beach who moved to this area with his wife. When we first met, he was in an ICU bed needing a transplant in order to survive. Sorry. I remember assuring him and his family that they would get through this and that he'd soon get fixed with a new heart. The following morning, they found a heart for him, but he was too sick to undergo the surgery, and he died the next day. Finally, I know one of my own City of Vista co-workers. She works on this very property, and she will soon be listed on a kidney transplant wait list that will return her to the good health that she once enjoyed with her family. You see, the wait time for a kidney can be up to 6 years, depending on the blood type. Lucky for her, she has a huge support system in place, and hopefully one of them will be a match for her because then she can bypass that wait list. Anybody can be tested, but her best bet is if a close family member can donate, as kidneys have a better chance of not being rejected and lasting much longer that way. Kim believes that organ donation is one of the best things that a person can do in your life. Currently, there's almost 40 Vista residents that are waiting on a kidney transplant list, and they're going to fall asleep tonight waiting and hoping. I certainly never thought this type of thing would impact my family. Sorry about that. This all changed when I had my sick heart removed and a much younger one put in its place about 10 years ago. I may be pasty Caucasian on the outside, but I'm a strong Hispanic on the inside. Every day I awake, I am grateful for another chance, another opportunity to serve this community and help people and businesses remain safe. None of that would be possible without organ donation. Here in the United States, just over half of us have registered to become organ, eye, and tissue donors. While this is encouraging, the demands for organs still outpace the supply. Nationally, one person gets registered on an organ waiting list every 10 minutes. Every hour, someone on that list dies waiting for that life-saving organ that didn't arrive in time. Currently, there are over 23,000 people in California waiting on transplant lists. Registering is as easy as an internet search. You can go to registerme.org, donatelife.org, or donatelifecalifornia.org. Or you can do it old school like my donor hero did and register during your next DMV visit. You too can be the holder of that pink dot on your driver's license. I encourage everyone, every family, to have that conversation about organ donation. Organs are a gift that you can't take with you, but you can certainly leave your legacy after you're gone. But only if you choose to donate. Recycle your organs. Be someone's hero. It is truly the gift of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Now I would like to invite Marie Alt and Nancy Kropp to the podium to present on the Vista Silver Star Foundation. Alt? Got it. Sorry.
Good afternoon, Mayor Ritter, Deputy Mayor Aguilara, Council and staff. I'm Nancy Kropp. Hi, I'm Nancy Kropp, representing the Vista Silver Star Foundation, and this is my colleague, Marie Arlt. We appreciate this opportunity to provide an update about the Vista Silver Star to you this afternoon. We're also going to preview an upcoming fundraiser as part of our presentation. The Foundation's mission is to enhance the quality of life for Vista's senior community through fundraising and grant opportunities. These resources will augment the city's support of the center. Nearly 5 years ago, the Senior Commission began to discuss with Senior Center management what was needed to provide these additional resources. Credit for that initial work to set up a 501c3 goes to Carolyn Chedister, who was then chair of the Senior Commission. She and 2 other senior commissioners, plus several retired community professionals, worked tirelessly to ensure that all legal and initial implementation requirements were in place. Unfortunately, Carolyn's life was cut short by cancer in the spring of 2015, and the VSSF leadership underwent a period of change. Today, talk about today's foundation board. Reflecting Carolyn's earlier influence, the foundation's work has continued with a passionate, energetic board. This board has been successful establishing the foundation's brand and building a solid infrastructure, and continue to work to meet its mission of serving the needs of Vista's senior community. Through building contacts and volunteering where needed, we have successfully unveiled our website. We've developed marketing brochures and participated in the Senior Center annual health fairs, as well as hosting a booth at the 2017 Strawberry Festival, and just this February provided 2 board members to serve on the judging panel for the Vista Golden Visions 55+ art exhibit. Now, more about our partnership with you, Marie. Thank you.
Thank you. We have been partnering with the city to support the needs of the center and our community. Additionally, we are seeking individuals, organizations, businesses to provide additional financial support for the city's Gloria McClellan Center. As many of you already recognize, the center is a critical asset for all of us. Since its beginning some 40+ years ago, it has been a haven for our seniors who enjoy the weekday meal services, the convenient transportation to and from, and numerous opportunities to learn, play, and socialize with others in an inviting facility. Our 50+ market is one of the fastest growing segments of our population in America today. Thus, we know that the demands are only going to increase for our center, which we like to think of as a one-stop resource for services and social activities for people age 50 and older. Our ultimate goal is to empower and improve the well-being of our seniors. With that ultimate goal, we are here today to invite you all to attend the Ultimate Bingo Summer Fling at the end of the summer, August 25th at the McClellan Center. We have some exciting plans that include lots of cash prizes, fun, and are seeking sponsors as well to help make this a huge kick-off to much more fundraising for our benefit. Thank you for your time, and we appreciate your support. And we welcome any questions or comments, but we're just happy to be here and be able to deliver our message.
I'd just like to say one thing. So we would appreciate everything you do for seniors in our city and the Gloria McClellan Center. And I know Carolyn would be very proud of what you guys are carrying on. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So next we have the consent calendar. The recommendations on the following consent calendar will be enacted in one motion unless an item is actually pulled from the calendar. Any member of the public may remove an item by submitting a request to speak card to the clerk or secretary. Items removed from the consent calendar will be considered immediately following the adoption of the calendar. We have 7 consent items this evening. Are any of the items pulled? Seeing none pulled, would go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Franklin.
I was just going to make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve.
I'll second.
And seconded by Councilmember Rigby. That passes, or am I supposed to know this? Yeah, passes unanimously with the mayor and Councilmember Green absent. Excused. So we have three discussion items this evening. The first one is the unleashed dogs on public property within South Buena Vista Park. Recreation and Community Services Director Theron Dykeman will present the staff report. So Theron, take it away. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Deputy Mayor, members of council. My name, again, is Theron Dykeman. I'm the Recreation and Community Services Director serving for the City of Vista. Tonight, I'll be reporting on unleashed dogs on public property within South Buena Vista Park. Last year, residents requested that the city consider allowing dogs to be off-leash in the natural areas with trails at Buena Vista Park, otherwise known to commonly known as the Duck Pond Park. On August 22nd of 2017, City Council approved off-leash dogs in natural areas and trails in Buena Vista Park, following review by staff and recommendation by the Parks and Recreation Commission. In addition, off-leash hours were changed in both Buena Vista Park and South Buena Vista Park all year. Prior to the August City Council action, dogs were only allowed off-leash at South Buena Vista Park on public property from the hours of 7 to 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to dusk daily, with the exception of recognized holidays, and from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then 3 p.m. to dusk, depending on the time change and the time of year. South Buena Vista Park was the only location within the city where dogs were allowed unleashed on public property. Then on October 10, 2017, City Council directed staff to rescind these changes, to return to allowing off-leash dogs in South Buena Vista Park and exclude off-leash dogs at Buena Vista Park, and also to solicit community input regarding off-leash dogs at these sites. So the Parks and Recreation Commission then held 3 community meetings in January, February, and March of 2018 to obtain input from the community. And then on March 26th of this year, the Commission recommended, the Parks and Recreation Commission that is, recommended hours to be extended to allow off-leash or allow dogs, off-leash dogs at South Buena Vista Park, not the Duck Pond or Buena Vista Park, during all operating hours, i.e. from when it opens in the morning to the end of the day, as opposed to morning hours and then evening hours separately. Currently, the opening hour or operating hours open are 7 a.m. to dusk. Finally, staff recommends extending the off-leash hours as recommended by the Parks and Recreation Commission at South Buena Vista Park to all operating hours as said. There is no direct fiscal impact associated with the staff recommendation, and this will conclude my report. I am available to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Theron. So we do have 2 public speakers on this item. First, we have Norm Hallis.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor and council folks. Good to see you. Been involved. I'm speaking, even though I'm a Parks and Rec Commissioner, I'm speaking to you this evening just as a private citizen. And we've spent a great deal of time with this particular issue, and I think the real solution now, as described by staff, is extend the hours at the off-leash park, but maintain leash on Brindle Terrace Park because of all of the other activities and people that are there. So we're just very much in support of having gone through this agony the last few months of suggesting support to staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm. Stephanie Jackal.
Good evening. Stephanie Jackal, 1500 Green Oak Road. I would just like to thank Mr. Dykeman and the Parks and Rec Commission for taking the time to have the many meetings that they did to discuss this subject. And on behalf of South Vista Communities, I'd like to hope that you will take Commissioner Hallis's and the Commission's excellent logical recommendation to extend the hours on South Buena Vista Park for off-leash dogs and have no unleashed dogs at Buena Vista Park, the duck pond. I also hope you might sort of tuck in the back of your mind moving the children's playground to the duck pond park. But anyway, I hope you'll vote that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from my fellow council members? Councilman Franklin.
I just want to thank everyone who is involved in this discussion. There was a lot of contention about this subject, so much more than I think anybody would have initially expected. No one has reached out to me to express opposition to the proposal that's before us tonight. Mr. Dyckman, are you aware of, it's not in the report here, did your office receive any communications opposing this proposal?
No, sir.
Well, I think that says something. We've certainly done a lot to publicize this conversation. I appreciate a lot of great suggestions coming from the Parks and Rec Commission, especially Commissioner Hallis. Good suggestions about locating signs. We got word from folks that the signs could be better located, and we went out, we made them more visible. We held numerous meetings, and I really feel that after much discussion, we got to the heart of what the neighborhood wants. And I'm sure there will be some that won't be happy on both sides, but I think that is the definition of a good compromise. And I think we've really done the will of the neighborhood here the best that we can. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendation of the Parks and Rec Commission and to adopt the proposal. Will this come back to us as a formal ordinance, or do we have an ordinance?
We have an ordinance.
We have an ordinance ready. So I'd make a motion to adopt the ordinance as drafted by staff.
Okay. Councilmember Rigby.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I also want to thank the community for coming out and talking to us at the various workshops through phone calls, emails, even text messages. Dog parks in our community is a very important decision, and a lot of people came out on both sides. This is something that we had a lot of discussion on, and I appreciate people coming out and having the engagement and letting us know what your thoughts are on these issues. Some people were surprised at the amount of dialogue on dog parks, but I wasn't. Having been a Parks and Recreation Commissioner and serving with Norm years ago, I wasn't surprised at the amount of dialogue on this, but I am always appreciative to hear what our community says, what you think, and what you want. So I just reiterate Councilman Franklin's appreciation for everybody who participated in this. And I haven't heard anybody oppose this either. I have not. It's been radio silence out there since this agenda came out, which I wasn't prepared for that. I thought we'd hear from other people, but most of the community does seem to be in support of this motion. So I am going to second Councilman Franklin's motion that we go ahead and allow off-leash dog hours to be from opening till closing. So thank you very much for your work on this.
And City Manager Johnson just informed me that we're going to have a second reading on this as well, so just so you know, but we are going to be voting on it this evening. With that, go ahead.
In that context, I'd like to clarify the motion is to introduce for a first reading this ordinance, and then it will be returned on a consent calendar for a second reading.
Very good. Deputy Mayor, could I add a thought and ask, is it in line for us to, because we've agendized this conversation, the recommendation about moving the play equipment, could we just, without a formal action, just express that we'd like the staff to bring us back some information on that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because I have heard that concern from a number of users with small children, that they don't feel comfortable with the off-leash and the children, even though there is a fence, And I don't know what's involved. I know there's cost involved, and I know there's other considerations involved, like quantity of land available, but I would just like to hear a proposal.
Yeah, we'll have staff bring it back.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
That passes unanimously with Mayor Ritter and Councilman Green absent. So next, we have proposed zone change at 1160 Branding Iron Drive. It's a discussion item. Community Development and Engineering Director John Conley will introduce the item.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and Council. Associate Planner Chris Winters will be making the presentation this evening.
Thank you, John. Thank you, council members. This item D2 is for discussion of a proposed zone change of the property located at 1160 Branding Iron Drive. The subject property is 3.04 gross acres in size and is located on the south side of Branding Iron Drive, approximately 700 feet east of South Melrose Drive, as shown in the exhibit. The site is currently developed with one single-family home. The owner of the property proposes to change the zoning designation in order to facilitate a 4-lot subdivision. The existing general plan land use designation for the property is low-density residential, which allows for residential land use with a maximum density of 2 dwelling units per acre. All surrounding properties within 1,000 feet and farther have the same designation. The existing zoning designation for the property is agricultural, A1, as shown in the exhibit. The A1 zone permits single-family residential units with a minimum lot size of 1 acre. The majority of the surrounding properties are zoned E1 estates residential, which are shown in green on the exhibit. The applicant is proposing a zone change from A1 to Estates Zone E1, which would allow for the development of single-family residential land uses with a minimum lot size of 1/2 acre or 2 units per acre. Since the proposed zoning would be consistent with the existing low-density general plan designation, no amendment to the general plan would be needed. The proposal would allow the proponent to process a subdivision, a tentative parcel map to create 4 half-acre residential lots, with the existing residents to remain on one of the proposed lots. The draft tentative parcel map shows a conceptual view of the proposed subdivision designed for the property. All property owners and tenants within 500 feet of the site have been notified by mailing of this discussion item. Staff is requesting the City Council's direction with regard to an application for zone change on the subject property. That concludes my report. Staff and the proponent, Mr. Pat O'Day, are available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chris. We've got Councilmember Rigby with some questions.
I actually don't have any questions. I was just going to say that considering the surrounding zoning, I actually think this is a great idea, and it will fit into that neighborhood. It's consistent with what we already have going on in that neighborhood, and this is one of the last parcels. If you look at this map, it's one of the last parcels to do this. So with that, I would move that we approve staff's recommendation.
Thank you. Councilman Franklin?
I would second that. Clearly, the change in the zoning to be consistent with the neighbors is the right thing to do. I haven't received any communication from any of the folks that have been notified. Do we place a sign on that property notifying this change in addition to the...
At the time of public hearing, we will do that. We do not do that for this hearing. We simply send notice out to the 500-foot boundary.
Right, but what you're doing right now is just to get a sense of council on whether or not we want to proceed with this?
That's correct.
And then you'll come back with a public hearing and a formal decision later?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. Do we need a formal action, or do you just need to sense the council?
Consensus of council is sufficient.
Okay.
I'm in favor. I mean, I don't see any problems. It's going to fit right in, so we'll see this in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have discussion Discussion item 3, the crime-free multifamily housing program update and amendment. This will be presented by City Clerk Kathy Valdez.
Good evening and thank you. This discussion item is to provide you an update on our crime-free multi-housing program and to request that you amend the municipal code to allow for the program to continue without interruption. The ordinance adding Chapter 9.40, crime-free multi-housing, to the municipal code was introduced and adopted on August 9th, 2016. Under the code, the city has the authority to require complexes with 10 or more units to participate in the crime-free multifamily housing program if their threshold for calls for service to the Sheriff's Department exceed a 25% ratio in 2 of 3 consecutive 6-month periods. The ordinance went into effect on October 8th, 2016, at which time letters were mailed to both the owners and the managers of all the complexes with 10 or more units to inform them about the program, provide contact information in case they had questions, and also to encourage them to participate in the Sheriff's Department's crime-free multi-housing program that continues to be offered for free. In January of 2017, two properties were issued findings of noncompliance, and in November of 2017, a third property was issued a finding of noncompliance. All 3 properties are continuing to work on their schedule of required actions, with one of the complexes nearly complete with their findings. The first year of implementation required fine-tuning our tracking, communication, and documentation to ensure that we had a streamlined process. While it is too early to expect to see significant and sustained reductions in calls for service, a documented success of the program has been the increased number of properties that have voluntarily become certified through the Sheriff's Department. In June of 2016, prior to adoption of the ordinance, there were 8 properties that had been certified through the program. There are now 17 programs that have been certified. In addition, the Crime Prevention Unit is working with 4 additional properties, the 3 mandated and 1 voluntary. And they've also had 10 complexes have recently completed the training program, which is an 8-hour training program for managers or owners, and those 10 complexes are interested in becoming certified. Because there is a significant lag time expected before there are significant and sustained reductions in calls for service, staff recommends attempting to conduct a survey of residents to see what their quality of life issues are, or the impact of the program on their quality of life. Oftentimes we find that they feel like changes are being made and they like what's happening, we just don't see the reduction in calls for service yet. That lag time is expected because a big part of the program is to engage residents, to ask them to call if they suspect any crime is occurring or if they have any concerns. So often we'll see calls actually rise before they'll be reduced. Once residents become more active and there's an understanding that criminal activity will not be tolerated, then we see crime reduce, and we also see the need for calls for service reduced. The current crime-free multi-housing chapter of the municipal code includes a 2-year sunset date, at which time, if no action has been taken, would have no further force or effect. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt an ordinance to remove the sunset date from the chapter to allow for the continued implementation of the program. This program supports the recently adopted 2018 to 2020 City Council goal of maintaining standards for multifamily housing. That completes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
So I'm very much in support of this. I think I've seen changes throughout our city, slowly but surely. I think we're seeing some improvements, and I've actually dealt with a property owner that's going through this right now, and I actually toured the property myself to take a look and see some of the changes that he's made. Still got a few to make, but it's a huge improvement on that particular property. So I think this is a good thing and very supportive. So just to clarify, we are introducing this this evening as well. So Councilman Franklin?
Yeah, I just want to applaud staff for bringing this program to Vista. This was, I think this was a staff initiative. And I am supportive of renewing the program, although I'd kind of like to keep renewing it on a 2-year basis because I'd like to make sure that we have a punctuated opportunity to discuss, to review survey from residents, and I want to make sure we have an opportunity to continue to hear from property owners about how this is helping or affecting their property. And I want to hear from crime. I mean, some of the impacts of this program are potentially extremely severe for residents and property owners, and the aim is 100% what it should be. But I just want to make sure that we punctuate and have an opportunity to come back and look at this, and that people know that they have an opportunity every couple of years to come back and discuss with the council this program and how it's affecting them. So I don't really see a problem with renewing it for 2 years at a time. I don't know what my colleagues' pleasure is, but that's the way I feel.
Councilmember Rigby.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I actually agree with Councilman Franklin. I have had virtually no feedback on this from anybody, apartment owners or residents. I think it's a great idea, and I'm supportive of the program. But even as it states here, we don't really have enough information to go on to say whether it's a successful program or not. So until we do get some of the numbers in, until we can see which direction it goes, if it goes in any direction, or if it just maintains a steady pace, I would be supportive in extending it, but not taking away a sunset until we have some clear data to back up doing something like this. Because I think whenever government gets involved in different things, you want to see a positive outcome of it, not just have government be involved for the sake of government being involved. So until we are able to see positive results, I would agree with extending it, but not taking away the sunset. So those are my comments.
Okay. I would just encourage you to try to get maybe a site, maybe have staff take it to a couple of these properties. The one last person I spoke to that's under this program wasn't exactly happy about it because he's one of our mandatories, and is someone I know, and I just told him, well, you got to fix your property, and he is. So I think, like I said, this particular property, went up to it, took a look at it, and I saw some real positive results. Really surprised at the changes that have been made. And they're small changes, but sometimes it can cost some money, But I think anything we can do to encourage safety and security for people that live in our community, I think is a positive thing. I don't have a problem waiting another couple of years to see the results. I think we will see the results because the sheriff's working very closely with them and advising advising them on changes that should be made to their property, as well as staff. So I'm fine with that. So, I'm sorry, Councilman Franklin. You had
I was just going to
comment?
offer a motion to introduce the ordinance with the amendment that it extend the expiration of the program to June 28th, 2020.
Thank you.
I would second that motion.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to hear a comment from the city attorney.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The ordinance is actually written slightly differently, and if I might, I would simply read what the revised text would be. It would read, "This chapter shall take effect on the 60th day following its adoption and shall thereafter operate for a period of 4 years. Upon the conclusion of that 4-year period, this chapter shall have no further force or effect unless extended by an ordinance of the City Council. Staff shall provide an annual report to the City Council regarding the operation of this chapter."
Understood and agreed.
Councilman Rigby?
Agree.
Good. All right, let's vote. That passes unanimously with Mayor Ritter and Councilman Green absent. So next we have oral communications. Each speaker is given 3 minutes to speak on matters not on our agenda. If you would please come up to the podium, state your name clearly and address of record. Our first speaker is Mark Alex Seeger. Not sure if that's an R at the end, but.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, Deputy Mayor and council members, city staff. I prepared something quickly, but I'm just going to freeball it if you don't mind. To make it short, I spoke here about 4 years ago. 5 years ago, I received a ticket, street sweeping ticket. To be clear, I'm not debating the ticket. I'm simply accounting what had happened in the past 5 years. I had received a street sweeping ticket for which my vehicle wasn't present. I felt it was unjust, in my opinion. I appealed it. I spoke to the city council, and that was in the beginning of 2014. I had a conversation with the assistant city manager. I'm not going to say what we spoke about because there was a disagreement in what we remembered each other saying. But when I left after that night, I didn't hear a word for almost 5 years about this ticket, about appeals, about anything related to the ticket. 5 years. I moved twice. I graduated college. I got a job. The other day, I received an email from Payment Account Manager, Milwaukee, which is a collection agency, and every single Google term and search that I did said that it was a scam, it was unjust, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they pull old tickets and databases. So I contacted Ali Zimmerman, appalled, and she informed me that it was indeed a legitimate company. So all I'm trying to come here today is just say that it's a little odd that Vista associates itself with that company, that I got a ticket 5 years later with no contact and nothing of the such. And I just wanted to come on public record and make that account known. I am paying the ticket. I think it's ridiculous, but that's what you have to do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for paying your ticket. So next we have Epi Tapia.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem and council members.
Good afternoon.
Oh, and congratulations on being a destination city. And that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Being a destination city, it is something that I have always been a proponent of and supported. And because of the newspaper article, recognizing us as a destination city is the reason I am here. As a cosmetologist, I am always aware of the clients, making sure that she or he look as best as they possibly can. It also carries into the environment in where I live, which is Vista, California. It should be everyone's responsibility to see Vista looking at its very best. And as we are quickly building new construction throughout the city, I can say that developers are looking for more direction from us, from staff, when it comes to planting. We've already adopted setbacks that are much larger than I had ever thought we would be. Now, I would like for us to adopt a policy for a continuity within our city, downtown, and the surrounding areas, with some landscaping which pertains to trees, much like an HOA, a choice of variety of, I would say, 3: jacarandas, palms, and the native scrub oak. I was fortunate enough to attend an ALBA concert at the Moonlight Amphitheater, in which the mayor, Ritter, was there. I don't know about the other council members. The group from Canada who was the presenting there at the stage asked, "What are those beautiful, beautiful trees that are blooming in our city?" And everyone in the audience unanimously said, "Jacarandas." All of them. So I believe the citizens of Vista would like for us to be more proactive, and so would our developers, getting more direction from city, staff, and planning in this direction. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Epi. Okay, that's our last public speaker. So with that, I'll go to remarks and comments. Councilman Franklin, anything?
Yes, actually. Friday, I was at Sandag for the Public Safety Committee meeting, and it was an annual report from Argus on the crime statistics. And crime in our region is going down, so that's always good news to hear. And then last Wednesday, I was up in Sacramento attending some of the hearings going on up there. There are a couple of bills that we're keeping an eye on. We did get news while we were in a committee hearing that AB, I think it was 827, which is the by right development, didn't make it out of committee and is kind of dead right now in this particular session. Doesn't mean it won't be back again next session. But there is another bill, and the number escapes me, but it's something that we'll be looking on because it's another by right development bill that's floating right now, and it did make it out of committee. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one as well. So I think that's all for now. Thank you.
And with North County Transit District, one of the major changes that we have is we're adding a non-voting member from the city of San Diego to the board. So there'll be a sitting member, but a non-voting. Many of you probably don't know, but our coaster train actually has 3 stops in the city of San Diego. I think Sorrento Valley, Old Town, and then right in the downtown. So they requested to have somebody sit on our board. And at this point, they are a non-voting member, and we intend to keep it that way. So anyhow, that's my report from NCTD. I do have a couple of comments I'd like to make, or reminders. So the Wave Water Park is hiring lifeguards. If you know someone who is looking for a fun summer job, they can apply online at thewavewaterpark.com. And we want to say thank you to the over 40 volunteers who helped clean up Buena Creek during Saturday's annual I Love Clean San Diego cleanup. More than 2,000 pounds of trash and 17 pounds of recyclables were collected. We do appreciate all of our volunteers. And with that also, I'd like to mention a cleanup if you're interested in cleaning up our community here in Vista. Losers Litter. They're having an event. They've been cleaning probably for over a year now, every month in our city. And they meet various parts of the city and pick up trash. So they will be meeting on May 20th at the Value Food for Less? Is that what it's called? Food for Less across the 78 there. So appreciate anybody that could come out and help them clean up our city. The McClellan Center's Culture Caravan has put together some fun trips for the spring, including a tour of Petco Park. If you haven't done that, that's a lot of fun. If you're interested in that tour of Petco Park, call 760-643-5288 for more information. And local churches are coordinating a National Day of Prayer event at the Downtown Vista Flag Pavilion on South Citrus Avenue, Thursday, May 3rd at 6 p.m. The mayor will be there, as well as probably a couple of council members, I'm guessing. So please join us for that National Day of Prayer. So, City Manager, any?
Yeah, I have 2 things. One is if you have unused or expired medications that you'd like to give back, you can drop them off at the Prescription Drug Take Back, and that's this Saturday, April 28th, and it's at Walgreens at 310 Sycamore from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you can't make that event, you can always drop them off year-round at the Sheriff's Station, which is at 325 South Melrose. And then last, if you are
they have a box right out in front.
They have a box within, yeah. Once you go through the doors, there's a box there, and you can drop them off during business hours. And then if you are between the grades of grade 9 and 11, we are looking for youth commissioners for our youth commission. So if you're interested in serving on the youth commission, you can contact our city clerk, Kathy Valdez, or go to our website, cityofvista.com, and sign up with an application. Thank you.
City Attorney, Darrell Piper, anything?
Not this evening, thank you.
Okay. Claire's good. All right. That concludes our meeting for this evening. Thank you.